welcome to today's live. And today we're talking about human design, which will be more in general, more informative. But let me see if I can explain it in the best way. So human design is a profile of your specific characteristics, and it helps you understand yourself and how you act and react. Understanding your human design profile is very essential in the beginning steps if you want to come to alignment, if you want to understand energy, and if you want to understand what is efficient use of energy for you, meaning how you should react and how you should create. So in which case you can create and in which case you can react and how. Okay, we have 4 main types. I have my notes here, so I'm just gonna read some information from there. The 4 main types are generators, projectors, manifestors, and reflectors. The generators are the most common group, about 70% of our population, and it's very significant if you understand even this primary layer of knowing which type you are. I'm a generator, and I'll be talking about this further on, and obviously if that vibes with you and resonates with you, then the strategy I use can be inspiring to you. But you need to understand which type you are in order to get a basic understanding. So for that, it's enough if you get your profile online. You need your date of birth. It's basically, from the spiritual point of view, it's when you were born, when the sun touched you, what was the constellation, what was the alignment of the universe, basically. And this defines your specific type. And then the specific type has some characteristics, but then we go deeper into layers of energetical centers, which are the chakras. Basically, it copies that, and you can learn about your gifts, your given gifts, and what you can develop, or what your task is here, what your potential is, what your purpose is. So then you can read into it more, and you can understand a lot about yourself. But I think that goes hand in hand in how you know yourself better. So it doesn't mean that you have to study it fully in the first run. The basic profile is for free and at many websites, so you can download this now anywhere. But it is essential, or at least where I'm at, let's say I have studied along some layers already and some numbers of my gates and the way you communicate. So I will mention this a bit for the some specifics that stayed in my mind. But I think understanding the basic type, because then you can have you can be a combination between generator, manifesting generator, or projector. So you can be some combinations of these, but definitely it's important to know, because some habits we might have learned them from the people around us, and if they were a different profile than us, and we have adopted those habits and those reaction patterns to situations, then it might be very confusing, and you might feel sometimes like you're lost and you don't understand other people, and someone doesn't understand you. This can occur with some family members. It can be very strong, but if you change the approach and step into that correct, let's say, approach that is aligned with your type of energy, then you can reach a different layer of understanding. You can reach it completely different alignment with that person, because you will understand the way they see things are different to you, and you can better react to that and not to create some drama or collision with the understandings, because we all have the unique point of view. We all are coming here with the unique sets of skills, and we're coming here perfectly equipped. But obviously the self-development is about understanding yourself better, and maybe understanding that what you have adopted and some patterns that you've been using maybe aren't so aligned with you, and maybe those are the ones making you sick, creating your pain, creating your disease. Okay, so then that's where we connect to migraines and chronic pain, because if you are long-term acting in a wrong way, let's say, or opposite to your energetic way, or how your energy restores itself, or how it's efficient for you to use your energy, then if you're long term using your energy, let's say, in a wrong way, then that is where the disease has the core, that is where the pain has the core, and you're just adding layers to this the longer you do it. That's why the self-development and the self-healing approach can be sustainable, because you go through that and you can go back into that pattern and question it along. And the human design is something that can guide you, basically. That's like a, let's say, a recipe book that can kind of inspire you. Obviously, you will be the one making your decision in the end. But it can bring a lot of clarity and alignment into your life, especially in those relationships where something you feel like it's not right, like you're not moving forward, like someone is not getting you, something is just not flowing. So wherever the flow seems to be not flowing, that's the topic that human design can help you with and guide you towards. And now maybe I'll go through my notes a bit. So this is a nice tool that can help guide you towards your intuition. This can be a good connection, because if you are acting in a wrong way, let's say in a habit kind of way, then maybe you are wasting your energy and you are staying in fear, because you're attracting to a coping mechanism, to a pattern that is not healthy for you, and therefore it's again closing the energy. It's closing the energy with fear. But once you open those layers and look into it, then you can hear the intuition. Then everything becomes clearer once you have that understanding behind it. And human design, it's like a solid way of bringing the understanding. And it has many layers, what you can understand about yourself, but if you're new to this, it's sufficient to understand what type you are and how you should work with your energy. And I will get into that a bit later. And it might turn up in your everyday life if you're not acting in accordance with your type, and in that case you're wasting a lot of your energy and can feel very tired, and it can lead to mini burnouts. Yeah, so this is what I was saying, that if you're acting, for example, completely in an opposite way, and this can apply to business strategies, your work, your personal life, working with money, not receiving enough, not giving enough, not being in alignment, then you can become very exhausted and you can really burn out really soon, because you are not aligned with the way your body works, the way your mind works, the way you understand yourself. Okay, and if you're not aligned with how your body type works for a long time, then you're against yourself and against your body. So this is again the source of some anxiety, depression, migraine, chronic pain. Anything like this can be in simply that you have been acting along the time against your human design, against your energetical type. Okay, so it's very good to look into this. And now a bit of exactly, I will state a bit of examples about generator, because I'm a generator in human design, and the main characteristics of a generator are acting in reaction, and the feeling that gets us into alignment is satisfaction. The opposite of satisfaction is frustration in the human design, and acting in reaction obviously is the opposite, is creating the impulse. Okay, but maybe you have learned to be the one to step forward and create the impulse. But this strategy, if you are a generator, will not work for you long term, because you are meant to act in reaction. And of course you have the freedom to choose with everything, but if you are the one doing the impulse and thinking things out, okay, using your mind to think out a campaign, think out a business strategy, or think out a work strategy, anything, like you're trying to think it out, then you have to use a lot more energy, and it will basically exhaust you, in comparison with acting in reaction, where you trust that the life will provide you with the impulse, and then when you act with the reaction, you are using your intuition, therefore your energy is being restored at the same time, and you're not wasting it. Okay, it's very important to understand that if you act with alignment, then you are using your energy sustainably, and it restores itself even in the action. And the action is in reaction. Okay, so you're responding to some invite, to something you see online, and you respond, and in reaction to this you create your campaign, and it's aligned with you. And at that case, even taking action will provide you with energy. It will fulfill you. It will give you the feeling of satisfaction. It will give you the feeling of achievement. Okay, that's where we oscillate between living in the harmony and feeling the things we want to feel, instead of feeling the things from the polarity of frustration. Meaning, if you will not act in reaction as a generator, for example, then you tend to get frustrated easily. Okay, situations will occur that invite you to get frustrated, but you no longer need to. They will not be occurring if you are acting in reaction. So if you're acting as an impulse, you're trying to come up with the new thing. You're trying to just like control something in your life. Okay, that's not an action in reaction. Okay, that's not trusting that the impulse will come from. You can prepare yourself. It's not like you wait passively and wait for things to happen, but you trust that what you're learning and surrounding yourself with will provide that impulse, and you can then act from that force, basically. Okay, so that energy is given to you, and when you act sustainably in that energy, then you can achieve those feelings that you want to multiply, the satisfaction, the achievement, things like that. And so that was the first example, thinking out things. And if you learn how to work with alignment in this way long term, your everyday life and work or business, during all the activities that you do throughout the day, then you save yourself a lot of energy and your life becomes easier. That's the miracle, that's the magic, where outside becomes easier, less stressful, more enjoyable. But it always has to come from inside, from understanding that maybe in a certain conversation, you're taking action, not in reaction. You're not listening to that invite. And maybe you're forcing an invite that is not there. And with forcing something, you waste so much of your energy, and then you can get easier to a burnout or to a frustration, to like exhaustion. You know, you don't have to be in a state of exhaustion, even if you have many running businesses. Being overwhelmed is not necessarily a part of your life. It doesn't have to be. You don't have to be overwhelmed. You don't have to be exhausted if you learn how to act in alignment with your energy and not against it. Okay, we sometimes try to make something work, or we cling to something. That's where we close the energy again. And we want something to work. We want that exact thing to work. But what we don't understand is we need to let this go, because there's something probably even better prepared for us. Okay, and this is the comparison between trusting life. It's a pain-free life, or you trust that life is here providing you with the best lessons, with the best abundance at the right time. That's the trusting approach, where you're in relief and aligned with the intuition, and you trust that when there's nothing to do, for example, it's the time for rest, and you work with that rest. You don't try to push it, because we sometimes have the tendency to either exhaust ourselves in the times of rest, of restoration, of rebuild of ourselves. So we exhaust ourselves even more, trying to push things that are not naturally flowing. And the opposite is when we are in the state of creation, but we are putting something more in there that again wouldn't be aligned. Okay, the invitation isn't flowing. So that's the comparison between fear, where the energy is closed. Okay, you can't, you are getting exhausted, frustrated, tired, and you are not aligned. You're not listening to the needs of your body, of your reality, of your situation. Or when you are aligned, and then even the action will give you back the energy. It will be an exchange of energy. In the state of alignment and harmony, the life looks that you're there, present, you are in the now with your mind, you're focused, you are focused on your breath, you're aware of what your body needs, what is happening in your mind and in your body. And when you need to take action and you take steps forward in your relationships, in your business, in your work, then you act in alignment, and therefore the energy comes back. The action becomes an exchange of energy. So you're giving energy and you're receiving it back. And therefore you don't need to go out of the balance, okay? Because then the exchange is harmonious, and you don't go as low as pain or frustration or burnout or exhaustion or like giving up. You don't have these states, those lows anymore, because you understand what's your boundary, with who, what you respect, how you respect people and yourself, and what you will accept in your reality and what you won't. So this is the intention that, or the goal, why we use the human design also. And also with aligned with manifestation a little bit. So when you focus on feeling satisfaction with yourself no matter what, and learn how to be satisfied, then you will no longer get into frustration with life that leads to physical symptoms like anxiety, chronic pain, depression. Yeah, so this is a bit like manifestation, where what you focus your energy on and what you want to live, that multiplies. So if you are staying in the state of frustration, then obviously it will go further into pain or something uncomfortable, anxiety, and so on. Some physical symptoms, it will manifest into yourself. Instead, where you're gonna focus on the feeling of satisfaction, being satisfied, that's for generators mainly, but being satisfied with yourself the way you are now. And by not changing anything, okay? Right now, you can be satisfied with yourself. If you're not, then you must practice this, getting into the feeling of achievement, of satisfaction, no matter what happens, being satisfied of how your day went. And with this, the more time you spend in the feeling of satisfaction, the more it can multiply. So then in your life, there occur situations that you can be satisfied with, where you can experience the satisfaction with yourself, or where you can, and this multiplies into like happiness, and then you experience more of happiness and joy, things like that. But when you are satisfied with the way you are at the moment, without changing anything, then you are aligned, and then you're in the now. And the more you practice it, the more satisfied you become with yourself. Obviously, the more you punish yourself, the more you are frustrated with yourself, the more you are behaving to yourself like in a bad way, let's say, and punishing yourself. Why didn't you do it better? Why didn't you show up for that? Why weren't you there for that person? Why didn't you help more? Why didn't you do better? And why didn't you achieve that goal? Okay, because you need to understand that in the core, it's not about the goals as they seem on the outside, because that is only expecting the satisfaction from others. But you cannot get that level of satisfaction you actually need if you are not satisfied from yourself. Then it will result in someone telling you how satisfied they are with you, and that's nice, and it's like a nice bonus. But until you're not satisfied with yourself, you won't see it in your reality. You won't see the achievements in your reality if you don't feel like you have achieved, no matter what you're doing. That you need to acknowledge that the way you've gone in this life and everything you did is satisfiable for you, and that's enough. And then the change happens in that moment when your belief changes into, yes, I'm satisfied with myself the way I am, with the amount of money I'm making, either if it's 0 or 100%, the amount of relationships I have, the amount of love I give myself. With all of that, right now, the way it is now, I'm satisfied, and from there you can create more satisfaction because it multiplies. And this is one of the significant things about the human design, which can make a shortcut basically to your understanding it. And so be sure to check the human design, what layer you are. And now I want to say a bit more advanced things in the end. Here I have, with understanding yourselves, everything in life becomes a nice flow, which is the goal, obviously. And you can find the human design on some profiles online, so it's quite easy. And now I want to add a few things that I remember from a advanced reading of the human design I had. I think in the first stage it's really not necessary to have a complex reading. I think it's necessary for you to work with it on your own and and see the basic profile. Okay, it looks like your body is there, and you have the different energetical centers with some numbers. But one thing that is a bit more advanced, and you can understand it from now, is if the centers, the energetical centers in you are open or closed. Because if they're usually in the graphic design of the profile, it's in the way that I think the open centers are lighter and the closed centers will be colored in. Okay, so there will be like triangles. When you see it, you will understand. But what I want to say is that the open centers mean, for example, if you have an open head, I do. So if you have an open head, it means you receive all the stuff. You receive everything. You're like a big sponge, and I have been called a sponge. And you're a big sponge and you receive all the stuff. And then you need to let it pass through you. And you must decide what is true for you and what isn't, what you receive and what you reject. And this is a big responsibility, and I think often, and for migraines, or any headache, any chronic pain, it's a good significance that, or what I wasn't getting some time ago, was I was receiving it and trying to analyze it and tried to like place it together all. I was trying to work with all of that stuff, even though some of the stuff you receive from outside will be contradicting itself. And then you're trying to fit the puzzle with things that are contradicting itself. It's like if you had two same pieces of the puzzle and you just can't fit both of them. You have to choose. You have to choose if you want to be in abundance or in poverty or in lack. You must choose in the end, and in the end you can't have both. Okay, you can be moving yourself throughout some limit and throughout some nuances, but you must choose. So the important thing is, especially if you have the open head, for example, or the open centers, is that all the stuff is coming in, and it's a great tool and great superpower. But sometimes that's where we get overwhelmed, because we have just adopted all that stuff and we take it as a belief. But you need to understand that you must process all the stuff from outside and then choose, make a selection, and let go of what is not aligned with you. Because if you are receiving all the thoughts, all the truths, so-called truths of everyone, that even when it's contradicting, then of course it's going to create a frustration and overwhelm, because you just can't get it right. It seems like you can't get it right because there's all the stuff. Okay, this is connecting to a subcategory of generator. Then the type you have is sacral or emotional, which sacral means that in the root of yourself, in the abdomen, in the gut, is that feeling you get, you know what's the right thing to do. You always know inside, okay, if you're the sacral type. I am the sacral type, so in the gut you always know, but sometimes we cover it again with fears and we can't hear the knowing. Okay, so you must again come, harmonize yourself, come back to yourself, and in the gut know what's the right decision. Compared to the emotional type, who needs emotions to flow through them and needs to experience the emotions and let them pass away. After the emotions are gone, obviously after a triggering situation, after the emotions are gone, then you know. Okay, so this is one of the approaches how you can work with the open center, where you're receiving all the stuff, but in the end you must make the selection. So this is a bit of a simple guide how you make the selection. Either you know, or either it's a yes, and if it's a maybe, then it's a no. It's for the sacral type. And if it's emotional type, you must let the emotion, obviously a triggering situation creates a lot of emotion, a lot of anxiety even, a lot of anger, frustration, or excitement even. Okay, excitement sometimes can be in the way of the clear knowing what's the next step, knowing what do I do now. But in the emotional, you need to let the emotions pass. And it's 30 already, but I'm gonna add one more thing that came up for me now, which is the source of energy. For example, for my type, this is very interesting, that for my type, the source of energy is in the sacral, and I am naturally with enough energy to even give others and to resonate. Okay, I work in a different principle, for example, than a projector, because I sometimes collaborate with projectors, and projectors need someone with the delight from where they source their energy. They source their energy in that projection, in the ideas they create, for example. Okay, but this is also interesting to know in order how to work with your energy effectively when your source of energy is inside you. And if you're looking for it outside, which I guess I was some years ago, when you're looking for it outside, you will never find it there. Okay, this is one of the core things you need to understand about human design, for example. So this is one of the layers, that if your energy is sourced inside, then you must search inside. If your energy is sourced from outside, from the projection of what you have created, for example, and it comes back to you, then you must work in alignment with that. Because otherwise, again, you're just exhausting yourself, wasting your energy, and then the disbalance occurs. The big burnouts, the not knowing, the hesitation or questioning your life, your worth, okay, all that multiplies, and we don't want that, because we want to be aligned and we want to be happy and satisfied with ourselves. So I wish you that. This was quite full today, and I will save it on my profile so you can watch it later. And I'll see you tomorrow in the next live at 11 London time.